Okay. Okay, today I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee for April 30th, 2024, and acknowledge that the press and the public have been duly notified of the meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. On the agenda, the second item is election of chair and vice chair. That was taken care of last meeting, so we can disregard that. Next item on the agenda is approval of previous meetings minutes, and I make a motion to approve those minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Anybody have any changes or anything of that sort? Okay, then all in favor of approving the minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Question concerning the financial statements, and Deborah Hamilton will lead us in that discussion.
Okay. We'll start with the balance sheet, and as of March 31st, 2024, we have a cash balance of $5.5 million for investments and about $5,000 for our operating account. Our fund balance is showing at 5.5, so we still have a healthy fund balance as opposed to last year, which was 3.8, which was also good. For our income statement revenues, we have received the March payment in this month, so that'll show in the next financial statements. Well, right now, as of March, $32,067,077 in revenues for FY24. For our expenses, we're trending within budget. We're tracking within budget. Just wanted to note a few things. The items that are highlighted in red, of course, we're over budget a little bit, which we will need to have those approved before the end of the year by the committee. And also to note that there was a grant received for the body armored. Even though that amount shows that we're over, we did receive a grant for that. Under the police area where it says the second portable radar sign, there's a budget of $3,500. We think that will be a savings this year, as as of now. The two signs that we have are the signs that we have are in working condition, so we don't foresee spending that money unless something happens within the next couple months. The radios, they are on order, so that expense should be hitting either next month or the following month. And for Public Works, they did purchase the Caterpillar trash loader. I think it was $188,000. It did come in under budget. That was coded to the incorrect account and has been reclassed for April, so we'll see that on our April statement. And of course, the Waterway Boulevard project has been delayed to FY25, so we won't see that expense hitting this year.
One thing I did want to mention under programs and sponsorships, page 4 of the financial statements, it shows that there's two sponsorships that were processed already for the VFW, the Wooden Walkway, and the author event from Mary Alice Monroe from last year. There were 2 additional projects that were approved by the committee and then approved by council. We just haven't received an invoice from them yet. We've reached out to them, so we'll be able to close that out. And that was for the YMCA, the Martin Luther King reception event, for $2,500 that the committee recommended last year, and also $10,000 for the IOP chamber for the light up Front Beach project. So you have we've only expended $25,000, but $12,500 will show up in your next financial statements for that. I'm sorry, keep going.
was trying to concentrate. Sorry, these packets came in and now I'm a little mixed up. Okay, so there's another schedule in there that shows what we have been, sending to the CVB, and this is our breakdown from the state accommodation taxes that we receive. This schedule just shows you of what our budget is for FY '24 compared to what we've already received for FY '24, and then it just shows to, the previous 2 years. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. And then there's.
I might have a question,
Sure.
please. The funds that we provide to CVB, and I know it's a significant, 1.1, 1.2 million. Do we get a breakdown, or do they provide a summary of what they do with our funds and what benefits that come to IOP? Do we get
Yes.
that?
Yes, Mike. So, and that is next on the agenda. So every year, the committee reviews their proposed budget for the expenditure of that 30%. The committee makes a recommendation, council approves that, and then they provide to us a report at the end of the fiscal year, which is included in your packet for FY '23 and for this meeting, that shows
Okay.
how that expenditure was done. So yes, the
It's
answer
in
is
here, I got it.
yeah.
There's also another schedule that was done, and it hadn't been updated for a while, and we updated this last month and this month. And it just kind of shows how the monies that are received from the state treasurer and what we transfer to Charleston CVB and how the percentages have changed over the years. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. This is just another schedule to see how the money comes in and how the money goes out. That's all I have for now. We'll talk about the budget. Okay.
Do we want to go to the budget discussion, the next item on the agenda?
Next item actually is the application.
Oh, that's right. You're correct.
Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration for approval of the application for funding of $35,000 from Mary Alice Monroe for the author event at Wild Dunes. Do I have a motion on that approval, or?
I approve.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
I need a second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, now, discussion, Mike?
Yeah, I know Ms. Monroe had a event in January of '23, and it was, by all accounts, very successful. But one thing I did notice, and tell me if I'm wrong, I could have misread or whatever, but only 30% of the people stayed on the island. Did I miss something, or is that correct?
As far as my reading of the application, yeah, 33% of the people stayed on the island.
I think that's a great window when it's non-peak in January, but if we're going to invest more in making LP, a literary site, which is a nice goal, I think we should have some benchmarks to try to achieve higher usage of IOP resources, whether it's Wild Dunes hotels or private rentals. I just think there needs to be some mechanism put in place to try to encourage that if we're going to do it. And candidly, I'm good with January, but the other three events, I think, are, if we don't have anything else we want to get to, that's one thing. But if we want to test and learn in other areas, what other, whether it's holiday events, sports, car shows, there's a lot of things that other beach communities are doing that we should maybe consider. But if we're kind of tight on time and we just want to, approve this because we don't have anything else really to test and learn or that we feel viable, I get it. But it just, 33% didn't do it for me. I just got to be honest.
we've adjusted the way our grant application process is run, so that now we do it one time a year, to coincide with the city budget process and so on. So this year, we only received one grant application, and we budgeted $50,000 for the grant applications for the fiscal '25. And that application is for the $35,000, which is within the $50,000, and we have no other applications to consider. So I think that should be kept in mind.
And we can,
Well, then, for a second item, and maybe we can't discuss it in this forum or this meeting, is can we have a working session where we talk about how we might be proactive to explore? If we're only getting one, that's not good enough to begin with. And if we're not getting, different industries, different, passion points, hobbies, things that would make people want to come to the island, if we're not even getting that, I would like to have a working session discussion, if possible, sometime, about we need to talk about how we reach out and make people aware that these funds are available. Because I don't think a lot of people know.
That's a good point. We also have a provision in our discussions that as we get into the fall or the second quarter of the fiscal year, the new fiscal year, if we have funds remaining in the budgeted $50,000, we've decided that we will open up grant applications for like a 30-day period in roughly, say, November timeframe. That so if we wanted to solicit other projects or other applications, we can do that over the course of the summer and then consider them in the fourth calendar quarter to be distributed in the second half of fiscal '25.
I would like to offer that maybe we go to the College of Charleston and University of South Carolina hospitality schools and allow them to do some of the legwork for us to see what festivals, again, if we're looking at October through April and trying to avoid the summer peak, or if that's not a case. I just see there's a lot of things going on we don't know about that maybe if, we engage those folks. The University of South Carolina offered to do it at no cost, and I think Charleston would probably do it, or a small stipend to the school. Let these students use data and research and come back with a report so we can look at the menu of what might be available so that they get a grant application. Just an idea.
I think that's a great idea to have this committee come up with ideas on how to spread the word, make sure people are aware of this opportunity, what kind of projects and events are eligible, what kind of organizations are eligible. I think that at a follow-up meeting, we can have that on the agenda as a working item.
I'm in favor of having that discussion as well. Okay, thanks, Mike. Any further discussion on the Mary Alice Monroe author event application? Okay, I'd like to have a vote. All in favor of the grant application of $35,000 to Mary Alice Monroe author event? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All not in favor?
I guess I fall in that camp.
Okay,
Aye.
okay, then the application passes by a vote of 4-1.
I thought he said aye.
He said aye to the nays, I guess.
What?
Mike, did you vote against the recommendation to approve?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the corner of approving the January event, which is off calendar. The other three, I'm not down with at this point.
Okay.
So no.
So no, okay, perfect. We just wanted to make sure we have it right for the record.
Okay, next item. I would like to say that we do have a hard stop for this meeting at noon. there's some conflicts that exist, and so we would like to get our business done within that time frame if possible. If not, we can pick up again in a meeting in May to finish out what we haven't completed today. First item under the new business category is consideration of the fiscal '25 budget for the accommodations tax, state accommodations tax fund.
So in your packets, we've included the draft of the proposed FY25 budget that we have worked at the staff level and council has approved for first reading. There's a public hearing scheduled at the end of this month. I'm sorry, we're in April. At the end of next month, in May, and then approval as a second reading of the ordinance. I figured I would just quickly, just for the benefit of the new members of the group and to get grounded in what we're going to be talking about, just to give a very high-level overview of the state accommodations tax, how it's used, and your role as the ATAX committee. So you all know state accommodations tax is a 2% charge, a tax that is charged on all sleeping accommodations on the island, hotels, Airbnbs, and that's charged statewide, but of what's collected in Isle of Palms, it's collected by the Department of Revenue, and those that receive over $50,000 in annual revenues from state ATAX are required to have an advisory committee, which is this group, to advise and give recommendations to City Council on how to spend that money. Those funds are, the distribution and the use of those funds are governed by state law. The first $25,000 is deposited into the city's general fund. That's for general regular operations. 5% is, it also goes to the city's general fund. I don't know why they split it, but, and then 30% have to be used exclusively for tourism advertisement and promotion to develop and increase tourist attendance through the generation of publicity. And that city's 30% is currently managed by the CVB and has been for about more than 25 years. The remaining balance, which is 65%, that's the budget that you're going to be looking at now that I'm going to walk you through, must be used for tourism-related expenditures and provide for additional services that enhance the city's ability to attract and provide for tourists. So examples of that is law enforcement, traffic control, special events, street maintenance. So things that are impacted by tourism, the city is allowed to use monies from the 65% to support those services. The 30% has to be used to manage, to manage the 30%, the city has to select an organization that has an existing ongoing tourist promotion program. And this is straight coming from state law. If there is no organization, the municipality has the ability to create a nonprofit organization that proves that it can develop an effective tourism promotion program. And like I said earlier, the city's CVB, Explore Charleston, has been the one managing it for the city for over 25 years, and you'll hear from them later on in the meeting about their plan of how they're going to spend on our behalf the 30% that we have to use for tourism promotion. And then here, this is the section of state law that defines tourism-related expenditures. So as I go through our proposed budget for the 65%, they have to fit within these, within this criteria, these requirements of what is considered tourism-related and therefore eligible to be used on behalf of the city.
Can I jump in right here?
Yes.
This schedule in your packet that I went over earlier, this kind of shows the breakdown of the.
Of the 65, 25, 5%, and 30%.
So you can follow the numbers.
All right, so for FY25, I'm going to go through the big honking spreadsheet that you have in front of you. Hopefully it makes sense, but just very high level, you see in green the proposed budget for FY25. We've included actual numbers from 22 and 23, and that's pretty much what we use to forecast where we're going to end in FY24, which is our current budget. And then we use that for forecast our revenues and our expenditures for 25 and for the next 5 years. For the state accommodation tax, so the city is very conservative in how we budget revenues. for tourism revenues, we budget 90% of the last 12 months. We usually beat our own budget typically, but we like being conservative and just planning for about 90% of what we got the last 12 months. So we are anticipating 2.1 for this upcoming budget. And the corresponding 30% would be $986,000, which would be part of the 30% that needs to be used for tourism promotion. Under grant income, we are anticipating, as you all know, we've talked about this for several years now. The city is pursuing a project for elevating Waterway Boulevard, the Waterway Boulevard path between 21st and 41st. That is a project that really stemmed from our desire to just improve that facility for bicyclists and pedestrians, but we saw it as an opportunity to increase our resilience and tie it to our project in our drainage master plan. So we are elevating. It's gotten a lot more complicated than when we started, but it's a unique opportunity for us to protect the interior basin of the island by elevating and preventing some of the tidal influence impacting the main basin of our community. So we've submitted a grant from FEMA. We anticipate getting about 90% of the total cost of that project from FEMA. So we are budgeting some grant revenue as part of that project. And the city's portion is then split between capital projects and this fund, state accommodations tax.
So that 376,000, is that part of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 38%. We're assuming it's coming to this. It's going to be paid out by state ATAX, so the same percentage is applied to the grant revenue.
Okay, so to pay for that project, you're using 65% money fund.
Correct.
As well as the grant.
Correct, and capital projects,
Okay.
which is essentially general fund money. Okay, so for the general government, non-capital tools and equipment here, we budget about a provision to add and repair beach wheelchairs. So we have a beach wheelchair program with the fire department where folks can order a beach wheelchair, use it during the day at no cost, and return it back to us. So we support that program with state accommodation monies. We also maintain the Carmen R. Bunch and the Leola Hanbury Parks. Those are right behind Harris Theater or to the side of Harris Theater, and then right when you come off of the connector, that park that we have in front of Public Works is the Leola Hanbury. Programs and sponsorships, here's where we code the 30% monies that are distributed to the CVB. Also this is where we budget our fireworks show that we do every year, 4th of July. And the $50,000 provision that you all review every year, as Ray was saying earlier, when we receive applications, those meet the criteria you all recommended. That's where those funds are coming from. So as Ray indicated, because the committee's only recommending one from the author event, you'll have some money left over to decide if you want to open up that process again at the end of the year. Capital outlay, we have $25,000 for replacing the message boards. This was something that this committee talked about last year, feeling like some parts of the island feel tired and maybe signage could be updated. So we've included a provision there to update those. The city also is pursuing a renovation and an expansion of City Hall, of this building. We're running out of space. And this building was built right after Hugo. It needs a lot of work, so we're in the process of evaluating what options do we have to renovate in the same location or relocate City Hall to another location, expand it here. So we're in the process of doing that now, and that project would be covered by a combination of tourism dollars and general fund money. So a third would be covered by state ATAX. Tourism promotion, here's where we included the $30,000, 30% provision for tourism, and also for a visitor T-shirt program. So folks who come here to visit can come to City Hall and pick up a free T-shirt. We're working on updating the art, and the Rec Center is going to be putting together a program for folks in the community to submit their art to be used in the next T-shirt that we provide folks. So
But
that'll-
Desiree,
Yes, sir.
when they come in to pick up this free T-shirt and whatever else we give them, are we getting a lot of information from them, where they are?
Yes.
Where they're staying, how long they're staying?
Yes, we have a form. We have a form that they sign and they have to hand over, and we ask them where they're coming from, how they heard about us, and where they stayed.
And is this done electronically, like on a tablet, or is it done filling out a form, handwritten?
It's old school handwritten form.
I'm just saying, that's our first line of offense, to learn more about the people visiting the island. You know, if we're gonna get smarter in this competitive world, we need as much data about them, so we can market to them and find out what they like, when they come, why they come, how many kids, parents, siblings, whatever.
Yes, I think
And
that,
if that's our, one of our only ways that we engage them, do we get any of that data from the hotels? I know Wild Dunes is part of CBB, but the hotels on the island or the rental companies, do they share any demographic data on the people who come to the island?
no.
I would like to put that as a suggestion, that we make a request, they have it. Their income level, number of people, everything we can get helps us get smarter.
Yeah, I would have to check to see what they would be authorized to share with us. I'm assuming they would have to ask permission from folks before, when they book, if they could share that information with the city. Seems like
If they don't want to give us specific names, they can give us insights. They could say 28% came from the state of Pennsylvania, household income of 200,000, blah, blah, blah. Or they could say 16% came from South Carolina and they stayed 3 days. They don't have to give us the individual name. I think some of them might be able to do that by now, but if not, I think it's worth putting on our radar to at least down the road have these kind of conversations.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Mike, and we can certainly ask.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, how am I on time? I'm gonna run through it unless there's any questions or you want me to go line by line. For the police department, just a few highlights. They're purchasing a new UTV, and this is a piece of equipment that our beach service officers use on the beach when patrolling, and responding to calls for service on the beach. They've also requested to update our access control systems in the public safety building, so that is split between police and fire. For the fire department, we're paying the debt service for a ladder truck that the city purchased several years ago. That ladder truck is going to be paid off in '29, and at that time, we'll pick up the debt service for a new pumper truck that is scheduled to be purchased in '29 and '28. For the fire department, another highlight, they are working on a FEMA application for a new rescue boat that could be, it's going to be through the Coast Guard, that could be shared and used regionally. The cost of that rescue boat is about $1 million. The grant would be a 75-25 share, so it would be up to the city to cover the 25% share. We're splitting that across different tourism funds. The state ATAX would be supporting it with $100,000. For Public Works, here under capital outlay, we have 38% of the Waterway Boulevard path that the city would have to pay if we don't get the grant. And we also cover a provision for beach trash cans. So the yellow barrels that you see on the ocean side and land side of every beach access path, that is supported by state ATAX, as well as the contract to service and empty them. Under recreation, their big project for this year is replacing the playground equipment and the pour and play that you see right in front of the facility. That is that's a cost of $300,000. It may be $500 if we can do, if rather than facing the project, we do it all at once. We're waiting on some feedback from the committee next week. But we know that a lot of the people that come to Isle of Palms and stay for a week or 2 weeks and come here as a vacation do use our recreation department facilities. So we are covering a third of that cost with state ATAX. And then Front Beach restrooms and Front Beach, here you can see we pay for the maintenance of the public restrooms that are next to Coconut Joe's down at Front Beach. We also maintain and make repairs to the fencing of the public parking lots down at Pavilion Drive. We also cover the cost of the beach trash collection service that I mentioned earlier. And also, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but the city owns the section of road between 10th and 14th and Ocean Boulevard. So we are planning on doing some resurfacing down that, on that street and repairing the sidewalk. So that's being covered by the state accommodations tax. And then the last thing I'll highlight is we transfer, we do operating transfers out from the state accommodations tax to the general fund to cover specific positions that we believe are heavily impacted by tourism activity. And those include a portion of the public relations and tourism coordinator position, 3 firefighters, 3 paramedics, 2 police officers, 100% of the cost of our beach service officers, some overtime for the police department. We have a Front Beach restroom attendant that works on weekends to make sure that they're stocked and clean. The short-term rental coordinator that works for the building department that's fully paid by the accommodations, state accommodation tax, and a code enforcement officer. We also transfer in 75% of the annual debt service for the Marina Dock project. This is a project we finished a couple of years ago where we renovated and replaced all of the docks at the marina. And we also transfer in money for a beach run sponsorship. That is the beach run that is done in October of every year. I'm sorry, in July of every year. We also included transfers into the Marina Fund to make improvements to the T-Dock and the Marina Green Space, and that's associated with the new public dock that is actually under construction now at the Marina. It's going to be a new amenity for the community and for visitors. All right, that's all I have for the 65%. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
No, I think we're good. Next item of business,
I do need a recommendation from the committee on the 65% budget.
you want to vote on that? Mm-hmm. Okay, I make a motion to approve the budget for the accommodations tax monies, both 30% and 65%. Funds. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion about either one of these two? You got the 30% bucket and the 65%? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against?
Hey, Mike, did you vote in the motion?
Can I abstain? I don't know if I know this well enough. There's a lot of material there, and I can, there's nothing that I, am adamantly opposed to. I'm just trying to understand it. So if I'm supposed to say aye, I know we've got to do stuff, and I don't want to hold the meeting up, so, yeah.
You
I'll
can
vote
abstain,
aye.
Mike. If you want to abstain, that's acceptable.
Yep, then I'll abstain.
Okay. Okay, so the motion passes 4-0. Okay, I'm a little confused on the agenda. Consideration of fiscal '25 budget for the 30% state accommodations tax fund for tourism promotion. Is that the CVB presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, in light of that, I'd like to invite Lori, Kat, or
Pick one.
whatever whoever's planning on giving the presentation
Is it okay if I do it?
to go forward. Sure.
Thank you. It's great to see y'all today. If I haven't met you yet, I'm Kat Doherty. I am the Vice President of Marketing at Explorer Charleston. I am joined by my colleagues, Chris Campbell, who is our Vice President of Strategic Communications and Research, and also Laurie Lynn Smith, our Chief of Staff. So the budget that we are presenting today starts proposed budget would start July 1st, 2024. So this is strictly looking ahead. And this is a budget that is really coming from years of collaboration with the council, with members that have been on this committee for the past several years, as well as the staff. We try to stay in constant contact with the staff. And we also really want to reflect the priorities of this community and what it is striving to get out of visitation and the people that are coming to this island each year. So I know we have a couple of new committee members. Also, I heard the chairman say we're strapped for time, so I'm not going to try to belabor any points, but happy to take questions afterwards. But I do want to point out that not insignificant in our world is throughout this presentation, you will see all new photography that was part of our budget this year. We're not finished with the project, but that is in this world of digital age where images are everything. We've worked really hard going all the way back to the fall to collect new images from across the island of couples, of families of all ages, and all kinds of various spots across the island. So hopefully you were pleased with that. So this is a new clicker. There we go. So we are a 501c6, and we are a business league, and we work to promote the entire Charleston area, which is a unique feat on its own. And we promote Charleston as not only a leisure destination, but also a group and meetings destination, and we do it on a domestic and an international basis. And today, as was mentioned earlier, we are only reviewing the 30% portion of the 2% state accommodation tax. And then this is what you have in front of you, the breakdown of the Turk category. So this is the outline that we are given to follow by the state. So,
Excuse me.
Yes.
Kat, when will we have an opportunity to ask some questions about any of those categories?
do you mind if we do it at the end? Is that
Sure,
okay?
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
yeah, just run through it then. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, that's right. Can you also be sure I get a copy of this? I can barely see it on screen. It's not in the materials, is it?
No, it's not in your packet, but we can share that with you.
Yes, Amy has a copy to the link, so
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. No gatekeeping here. Nice to meet you.
So the spreadsheet of the budget is in your packet. I think that the slides that Catherine is showing are not, but I'm asking Amy to forward it to me now and send it to you so you could at least follow along, because I know you probably can't see from your screen to the TV where it's being displayed.
So, most of y'all probably know there's no one-size-fits-all approach to marketing, especially when it comes to destination marketing. So we work to do this all year round, and it is measurement-based for us. We have a variety of different research tools we used. we use each year, and we review before we come up with a plan, and we are very grateful. I was glad to hear College of Charleston mentioned earlier. We work very closely with their Office of Tourism Analysis, and also we have the team here from Blue Ion, based right on King Street, Adam Oligarchek and Chris Simpson, who have been working with us on the digital marketing front for over 20 years, and they are a wonderful partnership to this plan. So probably the biggest change that we made, I think, Ray, was this 2 years ago, that we added, and this is, you'll see in the left-hand corner the things that are Isle of Palms specific, and right now y'all are the only community that we are doing this program for, is a VRBO specific to Isle of Palms campaign. So when a visitor is searching for a beach vacation, an Isle of Palms ad may pop up if they fit our parameters, which is household income, dates of travel, beach. There's all kinds of keywords that we are able to use. This is one of several ads that pops up, but you can see very specific words, Isle of Palms. They click on it. Only Isle of Palms vacation rentals will come up. They can search it. They can book an ad. And for last year, between only the months of March 23 to June 23, so 3 months alone, we generated $2,489,104 just on Isle of Palms. And again, this is the only community that we're running that campaign on. So I think that this has been very successful, and we have this in the budget again for next year.
Hey, Kat,
Yes, sir.
so if you can go back, that is the VRBO ads that people see when they enter in the keywords, you pull it up.
Yes, sir.
And
Just one of the ads.
you
We have,
evaluated that at $2 million plus. How many visitors, can you give us some details about the numbers of visitors, the demographics, where they're from, any of that?
hold, please. I don't think I
Or
have.
you know what you could do, since we're tight on time? If you can just handwrite a note or something, or email me, that'd be
Sure.
awesome.
Happy to. Thank you. So I think that's been quite successful, and we'd like to continue that based on your feedback. Another campaign that's been very successful is our digital streaming campaign. Next to that, you will see an overlay of all of our direct fly cities. Going into the new year, we have added 3 additional markets based on new flights. Those are LA, Las Vegas, Phoenix. So we work directly with Sinclair Media. They are the largest provider of over-the-top streaming media in the country. They have their own office here. Their general manager actually lives on the island. And as of November, they are the only American company that has access to Canadian streaming. Why is that important? Because as of April 1st, we started direct flights to Toronto on Air Canada. So this was a huge win to us. We didn't have to go out and find another media partner. We had the only American company and we already had a partnership with them. So this was great. We have made some upgrades to the Isle of Palms specific page. Now, this is our main site, so not to confuse you. This is explorecharleston.com. This is the Isle of Palms municipal page. On your community page, y'all do have non-members listed. This is the only portion of our website that has non-members. We are a membership organization. Y'all asked us if non-members could upload their business on our site. We said yes. This is the only place on our entire website where that's allowed. So if you have someone that's a visitor-facing business, please reach out to any of us here. We're happy to get them in the system and have them uploaded on the Isle of Palms page. Now, we also have a very popular, very high-performing Charleston area beaches page. This is the beta site, should be finished in the next couple of weeks. It's not launched yet. This is the new Isle of Palms page. It's looking great, But we made a lot of new additions to the beaches site. You will notice up in the corner, we have taken all of the beach rules from the city's website and added those. They weren't on there. We didn't have pet rules on there. We didn't have parking rules or ADA information or weather and tides. None of that was on our beach site. Pretty lacking, right? So those are on there now. And again, that should be launching in the next couple of weeks. And we continue to push traffic to these pages through Isle of Palm specific digital marketing. We also know that December is a slow time for everyone, so we'll keep pushing Christmas. This is just a small part of the Christmas push. Hopefully y'all noticed last year your big joy sign down on 14th and Palm Boulevard. We look forward to bringing that back and continuing to partner with all of our lodging properties and pushing that is a great time to travel to the Charleston area, including our islands. We have also enjoyed watching the Community Enrichment Plan, which was mentioned earlier, being facilitated by David McNair. If you haven't had a chance to read through the minutes or check out their initiatives, they're listed here. And then we'll be following along as the city works with an outside agency on a new branding campaign. And once the city gets to a point where they're happy with this new campaign, we will be working and promoting that new campaign right alongside with them. And that's always fun. It's like getting a whole new wardrobe.
I know.
We also, once again, will be the title sponsor of the Know Before You Go campaign through Channel 4. I think everybody's familiar with that by now. And then, as always, our sales team will be pounding the pavement and looking for all the groups they can. And you may think, oh, groups, that sounds like a lot of people. But we do love group business because they tend to spend more money, they have a higher room rate, and they stay at the resort and they don't leave, so they're not crowding the streets. So just remember, higher room rate, they don't leave, they sit where they are. That's a good thing. More money, don't leave. And then, one of my favorite things, years ago we thought travel agents were going to go away. They didn't. Why do we like them? Well, we have been able to tap into some of these networks like Amadeus and Signature Travel, where we get actual booking reports from them. We can advertise within their networks, and we can get back generated revenue reports. And I know that's something important through y'all. So these are more great channels for us to work through. And then lastly, we love you, Chandra. We love having her around. Chandra, she gets to collaborate and work with all of our teams and across multiple departments, and it's wonderful to have her, as well as you also benefit from our media team that's always out there working with various editorial team and our area visitor centers. We always have people show up. I could never do this in a million years. They show up and they don't have a single plan, and they ask what they should be doing or where's the local beach. And so y'all get the benefit of those too as well. So we are all here, happy to answer any questions now, or Mr. Chairman, we can always follow up with email to anyone or the whole committee together. Was that speedy enough?
Yeah, it was good, but we still don't have enough time, I don't think. So let me just ask, I'm proposing we have a meeting in May, and what I was thinking of doing is soliciting questions that the committee members might have concerning this budget, accumulate those questions, pass them on to you folks, so that in proposing that we meet in May to go over the specific questions, because I have a good list of things that I'd like to talk more about, and but we're just one question will get us to noontime, and that probably won't work. So how does everyone feel about meeting in May and getting more specific questions having to do with this budget?
Well, I mean, we can certainly facilitate that. I would have to check their availability and the group's availability. When, what is the deadline to have this proposed budget approved by council?
Well, this goes to our board at the end of May.
Okay, so
we've got
May
a little
would
bit
be,
of time there. I mean, ideally, we have a plan before the new fiscal year begins.
yeah, so if we have this meeting early in May, we'd still have time to bring it to council at the end of May for their approval. And hopefully be done before June.
Okay, can we talk dates then?
Sure.
Hey, Kat,
Yes, sir.
one last question.
Sure
I
thing.
promise. I saw a lot of, you guys had invested in a lot of images for all the things you're using. What about like Instagram Live, TikTok? Are you doing short version content that
We-
maybe represents all the different types of people who love the island and pushing that out?
We sure
And then
do.
the last one was on the groups that you guys are, thankfully going out and soliciting. Can you provide, like, who you're targeting, how they're targeting them? Are these word of mouth? Are they industries? Are they, geographies? How's that work?
Can I start with video first?
Please.
Okay, great. We work with a local company called Vive, VIVE. So we have one video, how to spend a perfect day on Isle of Palms, that is running on a TikTok campaign. We also use that in boosted on Meta, so Instagram and Facebook. Chandra has been working with them, had a film day last Thursday, has another film day coming up, correct? May 10th. So we're also capturing new video again with them. So yes, video is definitely on our radar. And all that is Isle of Palms specific content that is not combined with anyone else. We also have another previously campaign that we did. It's about 18 different locals that features various places all over the county, and there are specific Isle of Palms shout outs and features within those various vignettes, as well as in our Chat with Concierge series. So we have both. We have Isle of Palms specific and then Isle of Palms sprinkled in spots. So that's video. Group sales. Yes, we have a sales team made up of 9 sales managers, that covers weddings, association, sports. Oh gosh, the Smurf market. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my colleague. Yes, help.
Hey, Mike, I'm Laurie Smith. You'll find a good bit of detail as it relates to our trade show schedule and the spreadsheet that's in your packet. There are about 20 different shows listed that cover all the markets Kat mentioned. We work really closely with Wild Dunes because they're able to accommodate group business, and these are trade shows that we agree that would hit that target audience. So we're happy to dive more into that.
Well, I would volunteer to help, even as a rookie on the sidelines, the person who manages your sports group. I've been in the business 40 years and have met people all over the country, and if I can help with introductions or whatever, glad to do it.
We would love that. We have someone that manages our sports commission or sports group, and so we would love for y'all to get together.
Yeah, so I will get this, I'm sure, in that email. Thank you.
Anything else? Mike, you good?
Okay,
I'm tired, I've worn you out.
okay, like I said, I propose we schedule a meeting in May to discuss more detail of the CBB budget for fiscal '25. Also on the agenda is a presentation on fiscal '23, explanation of expenditures, which we don't have time for. I would suggest that we pick that up in the next meeting and table that discussion till the next meeting. So in light of that, I'd like to look at the calendar and see if we can come up with an agreeable date, preferably early May.
The week of the 6th? Or is that too early?
What I am planning to do is sending all of the committee members a message or an email soliciting questions they might have about this budget. I'll include things that I'm already thinking about, just to get you thinking about, just gonna get an idea of what I'm thinking about some of the questions, and give them to me, so that then I can pass them on to Kat and Laurie and Chris and so on,
So,
so that they
just
can
as a-
come prepared.
Just as a suggestion to make sure that we stay compliant with the Freedom of Information Act, I would rather me send the email to the committee and have them communicate to me. If there's some back and forth via email between committee members, that could be considered a meeting that needs to be advertised.
That's fine. That's
So I
fine.
can send
But I
a-
can still tell you then what
Sure.
what I'm thinking and some of the questions about some of these numbers and activities.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can-
things like, if VRBO is so successful, what about their competitors? Why don't we consider them? And if VRBO is so successful with $75,000 of projects, why not make it $150,000 and move money from someplace else? Those kind of things. I would like this committee to have more participation in where the money's going and what the activities are, and so we're all signed up on the fact that we're agreeing to these different projects and programs. So anyway, I can send you what I'm thinking, and then we still need to look at the calendar. Can we do the week of the 13th, or is that too late? I'm just thinking it's May 1st tomorrow, so next week is pretty quick. I'd propose the week of the 13th, and that should give us enough time to get our questions together, get them to CVB, and get them working on answers. Do you have any, what do you have? I mean, you're more like the gatekeeper on calendar.
I have a lot happening those 2 weeks, but let's just throw some ideas that, is everybody available the week of the 13th? Are you all, folks, Lori and Kat, are you all available that week?
We'll start narrowing down when.
When, yes. So just for information, this council has a workshop on the second Tuesday of every month, and then their regular council meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month. They typically have topics like this at their workshop first, before they vote on it at their council meeting. So if we meet after the 14th, then that means that your recommendation for approving the 30% budget from the CVB would go to them in June. It's okay, because it would still be before
Yeah, we've done that before.
we've done that before, but just wanted in terms of expectations, that doesn't give us a whole lot of wiggle room, but that may be all we can do based on the timing of, when we're having this discussion now.
Would the 9th or the 10th, that's close to the 13th, and it wouldn't, I'm just throwing out dates because it's close to the 13th, and yet it doesn't, we could get it in before the special council meeting.
I'm not available either of those days. I'm
Okay.
fully booked those 2 days.
Okay, can you throw out a date?
So how about Tuesday, we could do the Tuesday, the 14th at 11. It'll be the same day as the workshop. Doesn't really meet but you all would still need to come back in June to council. That's okay?
We can make it 14.
Okay.
Okay,
How does the 14th look for you all?
that looks good for me.
Tough.
Does that work for you, Mike?
No, it's tough. I mean, I'm missing our staff meeting. It stands at 11 o'clock on every Tuesday. And I don't mind doing it every now and then, but I can't do it, twice in 3 weeks. It'd
So-
be very tough. Unless
so Mike,
if
Tuesday-
everybody else says that's perfect, then I'll have to deal with it.
So Tuesdays are not good for you. Tuesday at 11.
Yeah, I can go earlier, later, whatever.
Okay, so let's try, what about Wednesday? Is Wednesday a better day for everybody?
The 15th?
The 15th? Does that work for you all? I'll have to move some things, but I can.
Oh, she has
maybe-
court.
Oh, we have court, so that means we have to be out by noon.
We could do
Um,
10.
Could we do earlier on Wednesday, 10 a.m.? We would have to be out by 11:30 on Wednesdays.
How about 9:30?
I have a standing meeting at 9. So 10 on Wednesday, the 15th?
Sure.
This would be the only thing on the agenda, so I think an
Right.
hour and a half should be
That's fine.
plenty of time.
What are you going to do to us? Ray?
I didn't hear you.
Okay, so May 15th at 10. Right, is that what we said?
Okay,
I'll follow up with a calendar invite, an agenda. I'll include the budgets again. I'll include this presentation for everybody, for those that did not attend. And then ask members to send me any questions that they would like the Explore Charleston team to address, and I can share that with them.
great. Okay, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think